The diplomatic vessel shuddered as another explosion tore through its hull. Lieutenant Marcus Kane pressed himself against the bulkhead, rifle ready, breathing controlled despite the chaos erupting around him. He had been assigned security detail for the peace summit between humanity and the Velaran Empire, a meeting that was supposed to end 3 decades of Cold War. Instead, someone had turned it into a massacre. Through the smoke and flickering emergency lights, Marcus moved forward. Bodies littered the corridor, both human diplomats and Velaran attendants, cut down by plasma fire. His jaw tightened. This was an inside job. The precision of the attack, the timing, the complete bypass of all security protocols, someone had planned this carefully. A sound reached his ears through the din of alarms and distant weapons fire. Low, pained breathing, almost musical in its cadence. Marcus followed it to the main conference hall. The massive doors had been blown open, and inside was devastation. The round table where both species had sat in hope now lay shattered, and in the center of the wreckage, surrounded by her fallen guards, lay Queen Lyra of the Velaran Empire. She was magnificent even in her suffering. Her form was humanoid but distinctly alien, with luminescent skin that shifted between deep violet and silver, now dimmed and flickering like a dying star. Her graceful arms lay at awkward angles, and the elaborate crystalline structures that crowned her head were cracked and leaking a substance that shimmered like liquid light. Her blood, Marcus realized. Royal blood spilling onto the cold metal floor. Her eyes, large and multifaceted like cut gems, focused on him as he approached. They held an intelligence that made humanity's greatest minds seem like children, and right now they held something else too. Pain, betrayal, and a surprising resignation. Human. Her voice resonated directly in his mind, the telepathic translation clear despite her obvious weakness. You must not touch me. Marcus knelt beside her, already assessing her injuries with the field medic training all soldiers received. Your Majesty, I'm going to help you. No. The word carried the weight of absolute command even as her body trembled. My physiology, it is forbidden. Our laws are ancient. No outsider may touch the royal form. The penalty is death for both. He looked around at the carnage. Everyone's already dead, Your Majesty. And you will be too if I don't stop this bleeding. You do not understand. Her mental voice grew fainter. It is not mere law. It is biology. My kind, we are symbiotic with nanites passed down through royal lines. They protect us, enhance us, but they also defend against contamination. If you touch me, they will recognize you as a threat. They will kill you, and in the process, they will kill me trying to purge your cells from my system. Marcus sat back on his heels. Through the shattered viewport, he could see attack fighters bearing the insignia of the Velaran military house of Krell. So it was a coup, the hardliners who had never wanted peace. They would be boarding soon to confirm the kill. How long do you have? He asked. Minutes. Perhaps 10 of your measurements. And if I don't help, you'll die in 5. Marcus made his decision in the space of a heartbeat. He hadn't signed up to be a soldier to watch people die when he could do something about it. He pulled off his gloves. Then we have 10 minutes to figure out how to keep us both alive. Human, I command you to leave. Save yourself. The Krell forces will kill any witnesses. Lieutenant Marcus Kane, Your Majesty. And humans are really stubborn about following orders that don't make sense. He tore strips from his uniform, preparing makeshift bandages. Now, tell me what happens when I touch you. Exactly. Perhaps it was the delirium from blood loss, or perhaps it was the novelty of being defied, but Queen Lyra actually made a sound that might have been a laugh. The nanites will swarm to the contact point. They will attempt to break down your cellular structure. You will feel burning, then paralysis, then your nervous system will cascade into failure. How fast? Seconds. And for you? The nanites will go into defensive overdrive. My hearts will stop from the strain. Marcus thought fast, his mind racing through options. What if we limit contact? What if I can touch you for just a second at a time? It changes nothing. Once activated, they continue until the threat is eliminated. What deactivates them? Only royal will. Then we're back to the core problem. Marcus looked at her critically. You're bleeding out from that wound in your thorax. I need to apply pressure, but I can only do it for a second before your nanites kill us both. There's no solution to this puzzle, human. There's always a solution. He positioned his hands above her worst injury. What if you tell them to stop? The nanites. Can you command them? They function on an instinct level below conscious thought. But you're telepathic. Your whole species is. Your guards coordinate in battle without speaking. You're not just telepathic with each other, you're telepathic with your own biology. The Queen's eyes brightened slightly. That is simplified but not entirely inaccurate. So connect with them. Tell them I'm not a threat. Make them understand. It has never been attempted. First time for everything. Marcus pressed his bare hands against her wound. The effect was instantaneous. Fire erupted through his nervous system. He felt things moving under her skin, swarming toward his touch like microscopic predators. His muscles locked. His vision started to tunnel. He could feel the nanites trying to invade his cells, breaking down the barriers between her body and his. But he didn't pull away. In his mind, he felt Queen Lyra's presence expand. It was like standing in the path of a star. Her consciousness dwarfed his own, ancient and vast, honed by centuries of life and the genetic memory of thousands of years of royal lineage. She dove deep into her own biology, calling out to the swarm that was killing them both. Not enemy, ally, friend. The concepts flooded through the connection. Helper, savior. The burning intensified. Marcus gritted his teeth, maintaining pressure on the wound even as he felt his hands going numb. He could taste copper in his mouth, his own blood. Then, impossibly, the fire began to recede. The nanites, responding to their queen's will in a way they had never been designed to do, began to withdraw. Not entirely, they still surrounded the contact point, suspicious and watchful, but they stopped attacking. Marcus's vision cleared. He could breathe again. Is working. Queen Lyra's mental voice was filled with wonder. They recognize you now. As part of my guard. As trusted. Marcus pressed harder, feeling the flow of shimmering blood slowing. Good, because we're not done yet. For the next 8 minutes, human and alien worked together in ways neither species had imagined possible. Marcus used his field medical training to seal wounds and stabilize injuries, while Queen Lyra maintained her unprecedented control over the nanites, teaching them to accept his help rather than fight it. It was exhausting for both of them. Sweat poured down Marcus's face. The Queen's luminescence faded to barely a glow. But when the Krell forces finally breached the conference hall, weapons raised, they found their queen alive. She was standing, supported by a human soldier who had no right to be touching her, and every right to be dead. The nanites that should have killed him instead flickered beneath her skin in new patterns, incorporating his cellular markers into their recognition database, an impossibility, a revolution in biology and diplomacy written in blood and determination. The Krell soldiers froze, their coup suddenly complicated by the inconvenient survival of their target. Queen Lyra's voice, when she spoke, carried through the minds of everyone present with the force of command. You will lower your weapons. You will surrender. And you will face justice for this betrayal. The weight of royal authority, backed by the proof of her survival, and the unprecedented alliance literally held together by human hands, broke the coup before it could consolidate power. The Krell soldiers dropped their weapons. Later, as medical teams from both species worked to fully stabilize the Queen, Marcus stood apart, looking at his hands. They still tingled where the nanites had tried to break them down. He would carry scars from this, both visible and cellular. So would she. But they would carry them together, proof that when survival demanded it, humanity's stubborn refusal to accept the impossible could change the rules themselves. The peace summit had been meant to end a Cold War. Instead, it had begun something far more profound, a partnership written in defiance of every law that said it couldn't exist. Queen Lyra had warned him not to touch her. Marcus Kane had touched her anyway, and in doing so had touched the future of two species, giving them both a chance to reach for something better than the violence that had nearly destroyed them. Sometimes the most human thing to do was to ignore the warnings and reach out anyway.